Hey guys, this is Max here. Last video, I talked about how it's important to measure your value per hour in terms of dollars per hour. And one of my friends asked me this follow-up question. He said, how do you hire this project manager that can pretty much overtake your entire business? And I want to tell you about this because that's what I did. And I want to tell you that if you make over $3,000 per month in profits, um, you can afford a part-time, highly qualified project manager that not only is going to take at least 20 hours of work off your plate, but is going to allow you to focus on things that make a lot more money, and so you can remove a lot of stress in your business while at the same time increasing, doubling, maybe even tripling your revenue. Now, in this video, I want to tell you about a couple things on how you can actually do this, even if you think you can't. So, the first thing I will tell you about today is how to identify the tasks that you need to outsource the most. After that, I want to show you one of the job posts I wrote for my project manager position. And after that, I want to show you how to filter the candidates that you're going to get on Upwork that are going to apply for that job post. After that, I want to give you some tips on how to interview these candidates. And then lastly, I want to show you a little bit on how to build processes and how to build dashboards that are going to help you stay on top of your project manager so that you can, like in an hour a day, you can manage, them working like 5, 6 hours a day. So you basically multiply your time like that. So let's get started. So the first thing you need to do is actually ask yourself, and you should get a sheet of paper and write down in order of the lowest dollar per hour value up to the highest. What are you doing now the most? Okay. So for example, let's say you're still doing customer service. That's a $10 an hour task. Okay. So that's the first thing you should outsource, right? And then, you can ask yourself, what's next, right? And then let's say you're, I don't know, let's say you're doing a little bit of graphic design on the side because you need to do like 2, 3 hours a week of graphic design and you're not a graphic designer. Well, that's like a $20 an hour job. So like that's another thing on your list, okay? So write that list down. Try to at least get 3 to 5 lowest dollar per hour value tasks, and then you can stop there. You can just say like, okay, I'm gonna need a manager for like these top 3 to 5 items, and it doesn't need to fit into a role like director of, like, manager of operations or manager of marketing. It doesn't need to fit in a role like that. But if you want to go bonus on this, I would try to actually drop a very simplified org chart. Like you draw yourself up at the top, and then who's below you, right? That's what I did. And for me, for example, I happened to have like a manager of finances, a manager of marketing, and a manager of operations, which include the operations side, which included customer service, inventory, site maintenance, like small things like that. And that created a role in itself that has a bigger picture in the small startup that I run. So now let's jump to the computer and I'll show you on Upwork a job post I wrote to hire my project manager. So we're in Upwork now, and I want to show you quickly the actual job post that I wrote. So very quickly, just a little quick introduction here. I guess I'm trying to, show that our company is successful and that did have a great time working for us. So, just a little intro there. Now, responsibilities here, I'm basically breaking it down to exactly what I want them to do. Okay. So in this case, it was a little bit different than what my project manager is doing now, but it's still pretty close. Okay. Like the team here is kind of operations, right? But I kind of group them into all into like one team, but you could list like pretty much anything here. Okay. Now, next to like the actual task, I also wrote um, who I'm looking for in terms of personality and character, because it's easier to train someone on what they need to do than to actually train them on the actual character and personality that they need to have, right? So, and also put some skills in there, um, which is very important. And then here I put how much they'd be paid, okay? And if you think about it, $20 per hour for an experienced project manager, it's really not that much. It's pretty much it's like half of the U.S. average salary for somebody that's full time. Um, So yeah, if you're not willing to pay 20 bucks an hour for a project manager, I think that you probably shouldn't look for a project manager in the first place. Because let's say you're making $3,000 per month in profits, and you're getting on like a $20 per hour profit manager. If you want them to work for you at $20 per hour for 20 hours per week, it's going to come down to like 1,500 per month, which is really not that much. It's going to be half of your profits, but then almost all of your time is going to be liberated for doing some other stuff. So just keep that in mind when you talk about salaries, because it's a big deal. Like especially in Upwork, it's going to determine who's going to apply on your job. So don't forget that. And here's how to apply. I put like little instructions, and I actually asked them to do a video. That's a big deal, actually. I really recommend asking people to do a video, especially when it's an important position like this. Ask them to do a little video, like a 1-2 minute video of themselves. If they can't do that, it's probably not even worth your time to talk to them, because it's really easy to do a video, and you'll see instantly if they have like a nice personality and how much they want to work with you you know so I asked for that, and then I asked for a lot of little questions here, because I don't want a lot of these spammers go on my job post and apply and just have it all cluttered with spammers. So I actually asked a lot of filtering questions. And yeah, that's about it for the job post. Once your post is live, I do recommend inviting a lot of the top quality freelancers you want to have on to apply, because the reality of the matter is, if someone is really really good, they're probably already working with somebody else, and they're not always on the lookout for new jobs to apply for. So that's why you need to actually go ahead and filter down to the kind of person you actually want. And the thing with Upwork, there's such a high volume of people, but also the filters are so good. So like you can filter down to like really just the highest quality of people on the platform. So you can say, I want 90% and up success rate. I want 1,000 hours built or more. I want 1K plus earned. I want fluent English. I want these European or North American countries. So you can narrow down a lot. So I would recommend inviting at least 20 people that you want to work with. And then if you wait about a week, you'll have pretty much all the applications you could potentially have for your job post. So what I usually do is, I don't talk to that many people. I use the filters, and I just go like down to the top 3 to 5 best candidates that have applied, and then I schedule a Skype call with them, and then I go in through like a normal interview process, which is, I don't really have a structure for interviews, but no, usually like after I talk to someone for an hour, I have a pretty good idea of if they're gonna be a good fit or not. So yeah, that's for the interview process. All right, so once you interview the project manager, what I recommend doing is actually not hiring them straight away. I recommend giving them a 30-day test project, so you can actually work with them for 30 days and see if they're good or not, without feeling bad if you have to let them go after the 30 days, because it was pre-established that it would only be a 30 days trial. So I do that a lot of times with most important freelancers I work with. I do a 30-day trial, and a lot of times it just doesn't work out. Like maybe like 30% of the times it just doesn't work out, and it's okay. In this case, I go back to my list of applicants, and then I interview somebody else. All right, so now I want to talk to you about some apps that I use that really really help me out to manage my remote team. So the first one is obviously Slack. If you don't use Slack, like get on it. It's a very basic app for communication, with your employees. So I really recommend it. But some two other apps that are not that used and not that known, I want to share with you. The first one is called Process Street. And what Process Street allows you to do, it's basically procedures and on steroid. So you basically, I'm going to show you real quick, but instead of having like a big mess in your Google Drive of all the procedures that you're trying to build with your employees, you have this neat app where you can actually go in there and create daily reports. So I'll show you something cool. For example, I have my marketing manager that does these weekly reports for me. So there's this little procedure, and then he fills out. There's like text here that's like tells him how to do stuff, and then there's this report that's built in the procedure. So now you run the checklist, and then he fills out this report, And then this report is automatically posted in my Slack channel. So without even logging into Facebook ads or logging into any app, I just go in Slack and I know what's happening with the Facebook ads. So that's pretty powerful. And you can do so many more things with Process Street. I really recommend it. If you're going to build any procedure library of any kind, I recommend using Process Street. Another app that I really recommend using is an app called DataBox. Um, Dashboards are really important. If you have a tech company, dashboards are critical because they allow you to see what's up really fast on a variety of areas in your business. So for example, I use DataBox to track my Facebook ads ROI. So like, I'll just show you real quick. Like that's one of the dashboards that I have for my Facebook ads. So it tells me like revenue, it tells me ad spend in a very fast glimpse. Okay. Um, so that's it for the dashboards. And that's pretty much all for the tips I have for you today. And I hope that you're going to hire yourself a project manager and save yourself a bunch of time and use that time to grow your business much bigger. All right, talk soon. Peace out.